another video. I just wanted to do a little tips and tricks video for the new players in the game. Where to start? So, if you've been following my screen, we are currently in the Kaza right now. And you're probably wondering, this is a good example here. You're probably wondering, since we're in Kaga, and like I said in the stream, the difficulty starts shooting up from this point forward. I did a enhancement video as well as a pretty much a whole guide to Yotsune. Now I'm moving on from Yotsune and moving on to how you should set up your storage and how to pretty much just like tips to know in the game to help you through it. Now, once you get to a certain point in the game, you're gonna want to have your AoE skills or quality of life skills so that you're not spending all your time attacking one opponent, if that makes sense. So let me go ahead and actually let me go this way. So we're gonna start with tip 1. Managing your storage. You don't want to be picking up everything in the game because you're not going to be using it. You're not going to have enough space for everything in the game. Typically you want to be picking up anything that is orange. Typically you want to be picking up anything that has an orange bag to it, so something like, I should have some of my inventory still. Yeah, so it should look something like this. Like these bags typically mean that they are for a quest, or you know, like they're for a special mission. Not all the time, because then there's the materials that you need for building certain items inside the quest. There are ways to increase your storage. You see here that I have 270. Since I already bought the max amount that I could buy for the storage and your inventory space, they're two separate items and they're going to be in the shopping plaza here. I believe they increase your inventory by 50 each one that you buy, and I'm not sure if they're capped out at 270, but I haven't been able to get any more. These are a must-have mid to late game because the amount of materials that you need mid to late game is going to start increasing more and more as you go forward. Tip number 2, your vanguards. You're probably wondering, hey, I got a cool vanguard from, I got lucky on the gacha, and I wanted to know if they're good or not. All vanguards aren't necessarily good. I will say this. It depends on what element you have, but even if you do have the element for it, 9 times out of 10 they aren't going to be as good as you were expecting them to be. But that's okay. You typically want to have a vanguard that you see. I'll give you a couple examples. So right now I'm using Shiro. As you can see, it gives you a list of all the elements that it has. He gives a base of 90 slice, 60 impact, and 60 mountain, plus 80 holy and negative 60 dark element. From this you're able to tell that he's a mountain, holy, and impact vanguard. My actually best vanguard is a awakening level 1, and he does the most amount of damage. Because the build that I have set up for him gives him pretty much almost max of both elements, which is lightning and dark. He already gets a base of 100 dark element, which is absolutely phenomenal for a Vanguard, and 100 lightning element. He also, I'm pretty sure, gives slice as well. He should give 70 slice. This is by far one of my best Vanguards that I've been trying to get up, and I will be getting him up as events go around. And the way you get your Vanguards up through events is your Articles of Awakening. So pretty much you need to get, I believe it's 15. I don't think I have it on me. I think it's in my oh, actually I do. So they're gonna look like this. You need 15. Sometimes events give you, I believe it's just one each. Yeah, it should just be one Article of Awakening. Now it's pretty expensive when it is in the event. However, it is worth it to get it, because with 15 of these, I can upgrade my Momotaro that I just showed you for free. So you're not limited to just spending on a gacha to level up your Vanguards. That's another tip that I wanted to point out in this game. Another thing about Vanguards is that the weapon base attack damage as well as the element go hand in hand with essentially making your Vanguard stronger. So let's say you're thinking, oh, well, since Shiro here has negative dark, it would be a bad idea to use maybe the other side Odachi with the element that he has, right? However, it ends up being a whole different story, because the thing about it is that the base attack, this 3000 base attack, actually does so much more than you would expect it to. I'm actually hitting more with a dark weapon than I am with my Sin that has holy element attached to it, as well as lightning. Of course, it's better to use my Sin rather than my dark side, or my other side, I'm sorry, because the other side, Odachi, Momotaro, even though he's a dark element, the lightning element bonus that this gives is way better to use on Momotaro specifically. So you kind of gotta experiment with it. You're probably confused about what are events, when do they happen, how should you grind them out. That's gonna be tip number 3. Events are pretty much going to be what essentially makes you stronger in this game. If you see an event, do it. And do it on normal first. If there is a Magatama in there, and that Magatama, because right now I have a Odachi specific Magatama for mountain element. I have 3 of them, and you can equip 3 of them on for level 125 and up. I have my rank skill force at max on my character now, because I hit 128. Before I was 127, but now I have 500 rank 5 to rank 8 max skill force now, and essentially that skill force is going to boost my damage on Odachi by a ton for rank 5 and up skills. Something else to note is that the weapons that you get from the events are also really good. I only got 2. It's never a good idea to be lazy in this game. However, I was lazy when these came out. I believe I got the spear for the wind. Yeah. So these are going to be your rain, and I think that's it. Not pierce. It also has pierce on it. These are just an example of what weapons you can get from the events, and sometimes they're actually really good. Sometimes they're pretty bad, and sometimes they're just there for fun. For example, if I have it with me now, which I unfortunately do not. Yeah, I don't think I have it on me right now. But there was an event a while ago that gave watermelons and then like umbrella staves. And you'll see the difference if I can find one of those here. 1 second, let me see if it's in my inventory. I think I put it in my storage. Yeah, I did. Yeah, but there are certain weapons that you don't always want to go for, but you can. Trying to see if I have one of them. Unfortunately, I do not. There's a couple. There's 3 I can name off the bat. There's a watermelon, a lollipop, and a... I'm trying to think. What was the third one? Oh yeah, the umbrella. I'm sorry about that. So there's a lollipop, a watermelon, and a umbrella. Those 3 are going to be pretty much your... It's just a weapon for looks, if that makes sense. And that's going to be tip 3. For tip number 4, probably wondering, my skill level is going pretty slow at the pace that I'm going as a mid to late game player. What should I do to level up my skills? There's plenty of options that you can do, and it doesn't matter how many enemies you kill, more so than it matters how many enemies you hit with that skill, if that makes sense. So let's say I wanted to level up on my other side, right? So I would actually take off all my Magatamas, find the strongest but weak hitting enemy I could find, and just keep hitting it with the skill over and over and level it up that way. Or you can go the slow route and just level it up passively as you play and just lean more on that skill. However, when you get it to max level and you evolve it, it counts as a whole different skill when you evolve a skill on a weapon. So if you have a skill card with that same skill on it, once you evolve it with Momotaro, essentially you can put another one based on RNG on top of that one, and then you evolve it, it counts as a whole different skill, and you can just reverse that way. And you just keep going until you get all of the same skills that you want on your weapon. It's always a good idea to put your strongest skills on your strongest weapon. Collapsing Blade is one of the strongest skills in my opinion for a dark skill. Dark and Slash. It does take a pretty good chunk of my other side, but that's also because this weapon has 170% durability loss. So yeah, the only reason why we use this other side is for a stat stick on your vanguards. That's literally what I use this for. I use this to attack. So how do you build in this game, and what typically do you want to look for? Tip 5. Pretty much in this game, like I said in a couple other videos, there are plenty of sources of power that you can have, from your liquors to the food that you eat, to how high of a level your skill is, to your weapons, to the RNG of how much base damage your weapon has, because that's also hand in hand with RNG. You're not really stuck with this enchantment. You can always reset it and then level it back up to increase your damage. Your accessories, these actually play a very important part inside of my builds, because if you get lucky and get accessories, these can help you out a ton, from extra element to cooldown cut to critical to attack percentage. If you get an accessory like these, you gotta be using them. You got to. Like the spear affinity on this, it gives me 50% bonus to it, while also giving me a 15% attack percentage. Obviously, inside of Onigiri, your attack percentage is always going to be better than base attack. That pretty much goes for any game. Attack percentage is better than base attack, because instead of it having a solid base damage, it's percentage of the damage that you would have, if that makes sense. So once you get your weapon, once you get your Vagatamas, once you get your accessories, you're pretty much good. There are a couple of things as well that goes hand in hand with like how you would set up your build, because once you get to a higher level in the game, your damage shaves off based off of what element that monster you're fighting is weak to. So right now I'm on a mountain build, and mountain is a very good element. It's very slept on. However, there's so few mountain skills that go with Odachi that it's kind of like I'm limited to what I can use, if that makes sense. Lightning is also really good. There's a lot of skills that have lightning. There is a sublime in the shop, I believe, right now that has lightning on it. But always before you go into a boss fight inside of Chifuri, Onigashima, always check what element that corresponds with that boss, because it might not always be the element that you're thinking. For example, did you know that I believe it's Levelance Gargoyle? I believe that she's weak to the lightning element. It's not fire, it's lightning, but it's the ice one. They're actually very strong to fire, so if you go in there with fire, chances are you're not going to be able to kill it. Your best element to use universally, in my opinion, is probably going to be wind. Wind, lightning, and mountain. That's just my personal opinion from and ice as well. This is my personal opinion. You're entitled to yours. However, with the majority of the bosses being strong against fire, because I used to actually main the fire element, so I know the struggle of having fire. It's a pretty big struggle. But once you get the other elements, you're pretty much good. Now, questing. Questing is so much easier when you have a mount and they give a free mount out. They're actually giving their free mount out at this event right now. I don't know if there's an attack on it, but going by what they had before, which was actually, I'll show y'all. They had this mount. Its speed is significantly slower than Brownie, actually, looking at it, because I believe Brownie's at 85. Which one is this? Yeah, Brownie's actually faster than the mount you get in the shop because he's at 85 speed and these ones have 80 speed. That's actually surprising. But these mounts are like mounts like this with no attacks on it. Typically want to use them to move around. They're not really good for attacks. Maybe if you level them up. Maybe if you I don't really think they're gonna be good for attack. It'd be more for like moving around. It looks cool, but not really good idea to use them for attacks. Alright, moving on. Tip 6, partners. This is a very complicated love-hate relationship with your partners. So they introduced this into the game a while ago. It wasn't always in the game. You level them up by the same way you level them up inside of that XP dungeon, I believe. Yeah, they take XP tickets. I believe they take SP tickets. I'm not sure. I remember them taking it. But you can use these to heal you. You can use them to attack. You can set them up how you want to set them up. This weapon here, I believe, also goes in hand with how much damage they're going to be dealing. AI skill is pretty much telling them what to do. I haven't leveled them up yet, but on my other account, I will be leveling and testing out and actually building really good weapons for them on my other account and testing it out, and I'll get back to you on this one. But other than that, yokai aren't really a useful aspect in the game. They die a lot, die more than you do, and I never really see anybody use them. It's a pretty forgotten part of the game. Now you're probably wondering what's the quickest way to actually achieve getting a good Vanguard. So if you were following my stream, I had a Vanguard from this shop here. They actually have options for a mount, which is Mighty Mane, and 2 Vanguards here. This is your free mount, this is your free Vanguards, and I believe that's it. Yeah. So you can get those. Those are pretty good to use. Unfortunately, the only way to get a good Vanguard is getting lucky over here. Actually roll that real quick. But the only way to get it is actually getting lucky over here, unfortunately. If you do plan on spending money in the game, then always only do it when it says win rate increased. Never do it on a banner that does not say win rate increased, because the chances of it dropping. Let me see. Is there an information tab? Actually shows you their win rates of some of them before. Sorry about that. It doesn't show the win rate here, but I'm pretty sure it's like a 0.05% chance if it's not on win rate increased, and it's like a 0.5. That's the difference. 0.5 increase in chances of you getting whatever's on the banner at the time, which is up to you to decide whether or not that's worth it. But like, for example, this is a really good rain element shoulder pet, actually. And you notice how it had a staff and a wand, because majority of your rain skills are going to be on staff and wand, unfortunately. I don't remember if Odachi had any rain element skills. I highly doubt it, but yeah, Odachi is slept on though. Odachi is slept on in this game. I think that's like pretty much all for like you need to know for mid game. I got the armor. Water play. Well, I'm gonna do the purple one. These vanguards here. 99 is cool looking, but you want to get her if anything, and she's like the better version, if you want to say. I guess that's it. Like, if you're thinking about making a build for your character, make sure that you look for the events, keep an eye out for them, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and farm out this sword of blue light that I need to build. If y'all have any questions, please use this video as a Q&A. I will be happy to answer any questions as soon as possible.